So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today I'm going to be walking you through the Form WH-381, the Notice of Eligibility and Rights and Responsibilities under the Family and Medical Leave Act. If you've received this form, it'll be from your employer as a result of your notification of needing FMLA in the workplace. You have to have worked for an employer for at least 12 months, met the hours of service requirement preceding the leave, and work at a site with at least 50 employees within the 75-mile radius. And so you should, this form should be given to employees within 5 business days. That's really important to know. Companies have a really rapid response time of getting that information out. You'll see, of course, here the date from your employer, who the employer is, the employee, and then they tell you when they were notified of the leave and when you're planning on starting the leave. And quite frequently with FMLA, it's the same day, right, that you need it if it's an emergency as soon as humanly possible. And so you have to take it right away. The next up is the reasons why you can take FMLA, and that is important for you to understand. Of course, you can take it for the birth of a child or placement of a child with you for adoption or foster care. You can take it for your own serious health condition, and there are definitions surrounding serious health condition. Take a look at that. I have a link down below of what a serious health condition is because it's important. In addition, you can also take FMLA for care of a family member or due to a serious health condition, and your employer will select one of these. In addition, you can also take it for family member covered active duty and on an impending call. I've actually never had this happen, but I didn't practice HR during any active wars or the height of the Iraq War or anything else. So I'm sure that this one is a frequent one in certain communities, but not one I'm used to. Same with the one below. You can also take care for a family member who's a covered service member with a serious injury. That might be located as well. Next up, you can then look. Spouse is defined as husband or wife or recognized in the state where the individual was married. There are situations where child and parent can be broader than just typical child and parent, which includes loco parentis, where the person assumes the obligations of a parent or child. Here is where the employer marks whether or not you're eligible or not. It's pretty basic. If you're eligible, it's because of a certain amount of time that you've spent with the company, as well as the size of company and the amount of hours that you've spent with the company, as noted previously. Then the company has the opportunity to put not eligible, and what it is. This is expanded and developed over time, and it's a lot nicer than it used to be. It used to be fairly bare bones. But it is possible to be denied because you don't have the 12-month length of service. You don't have the hours. This is typically denied for part-time. In addition, the airline flight crew, or you can be at a smaller company that has less than 50 or more employees within 75 miles. And if you want to contact them, it'll put that information. And so here, you are notified of additional information needed. And so if no additional information is requested, then you go to the section 3, which is the notice of rights and responsibilities. But if they're looking for certification, they will have this information, which is the certification with the healthcare provider for the employee, healthcare provider for the employee's family member, qualifying exigency, serious illness, or injury. This is the WH-380E form that needs to be provided. It will be attached to this or given, or typically it's attached. I think most employers will attach it. If they're wanting support, they'll get the WH-380E form, and then they'll mark attached or not attached. You can get it easily online if you need it. If you need the form, most employers will attach it though. And then you have 15 days to complete the medical certificate certification form. at least. Some employers are more generous than that, but it is important to know that you have at least 15 calendar days from the date of the employer requested to provide the certification. An employer can also request that you provide reasonable documentation that you and a family member are related. That is, I haven't seen this come through in my experience, but surely with different types of households, there is a need for this, and there is a reasonable documentation or statement. Finally, you can have documentation for a military family leave and then a certain date that it's going by. This is your point person for any FMLA leave, and so if you need to know any more information stemming from this video, you can get that here. Section 3 is very important. It's the FMLA leave entitlement. You get to take 12 weeks of unpaid leave in a 12-month period, and this is really important to understand. This is probably the key point in this entire document because it's the one that's up for the most interpretation by each company. In the 12-month period for FMLA, it can be a calendar year. So in theory, it would be, you could take up to 12 weeks from January 1st to December 31st, or kind of similar, a fixed leave year, I suppose, maybe like the government, although I don't know what process the government follows, but the government could do a fixed leave year where it's something like from September 31st or October 1st until September 31st of the following year. But anyway, whatever fixed leave year it is, it's fairly rare. I don't see this very often. In addition, they could do a 12-month period rolling forward or rolling backward. And so, for example, if you took FMLA on September 18th, then those hours from September 18th of 2023 would fall off on September 18th of 2024. And the rolling 12-month period is fairly similar, but it goes backwards. Each time an employee takes FMLA leave, the remaining leave is the balance of the 12 weeks not used. And so this is up for the most interpretation. Almost all companies that I'm aware of use this one, the 12-month period rolling forward. However, because there can be some serious abuse issues specifically surrounding the calendar year as well as a fixed leave year. And so that is important to understand. I've never seen a key employee being defined under FMLA, but your FMLA is still not denied if you're considered a key employee, but you may not be restored to employment following FMLA leave if it causes substantial and grievous economic injury. Again, never seen it. I'm sure it's possible, but I've never seen anyone mark you are. In addition, they'll mark whether or not they're restoring you to employment if you're considered a key employee. Restoring you to employment at the conclusion of FMLA leave will cause substantial and grievous harm. If a company were to do this to me, I would probably reach out to legal counsel because a key employee is a very tough definition, and it's a very high bar, so you have to check whether or not you are actually a key employee. That's typically reserved for CEOs and people of that nature. What most people don't understand about FMLA is that it isn't paid leave, it's unpaid, and you can request that your accrued paid leave, so your PTO, vacation, run concurrently with some or all of your FMLA leave. The absence will count against both paid leave and unpaid leave at the same time. And so this allows the employer to note and tell you whether or not it will be paid and whether or not they've requested to use all of their paid leave during the FMLA. And most employers will require you to use some or all of your available paid leave, and they're allowed to. That's perfectly legal under U.S. law and is pretty frequent, frankly. And so there may be conditions that are involved here, but you can again speak to your HR person, which is listed here, and learn more about it. In addition, and they've made this form a lot longer over time than it used to be, frankly, but you have the right to having your health benefits maintained under FMLA, but you have to pay for those benefits while you're off. And so you have the ability to work with your HR department to make those payments. Generally, you can have these discussions with them and talk about how you could repay the money back. where you typically have a grace period of 30 or more days to pay them back. In addition, there are other employee benefits that you have that you may have to make up the difference when you're taking FMLA, and they chronicle them right here. You are required to be reinstated to your equivalent job with same pay, benefits, and terms and conditions of employment. And this notification has changed significantly over the years. It is fairly impressive from that perspective. Finally, there are other requirements, which include periodic reports of your status and intent to work every certain amount of days, and that's important for you to read and then follow when it comes about. There is oftentimes companies are interested in learning more about what you have going on within the bounds of FMLA, right? They don't want personal information, but they do want to know if you're coming back soon or what the timeline is looking like. That's it for Human Resources for the People. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of WH-381 so that you can have a better understanding of this document and its role in the workplace. Thanks, guys. Bye. What do you think about today's video? Please comment down below, like, share, and subscribe. It really helps out. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.